Okay, so I'm excited about doing this. We've been trying to put something together for the last week or so with Mark and I, and then finally found the time that him and I are together to be able to have a conversation with you. Again, I'm hoping our volume is fine for you. We're both pretty loud, if you know us, so that should not be a problem, Mark. But what we want to do today is to go over some of the conversations or questions that some of our clients and friends and family have asked us about about markets, economics a little bit, things that we do here to help clients. And so I thought it'd be a good idea to bring Mark in to just interview him. So I'm going to ask Mark some questions today. And he'll give you his feedback as when some of you have met with Mark over the last number of weeks or years, and now have gotten understand how good he is about explaining things to you. So I'm just going to Q&A Cross, and we'll go from there. As far as a little housekeeping, if you are for some reason unmuted to some degree, and I think everybody's muted right now, go ahead and please mute so we don't have interruption for everybody else. And also, we're going to keep this fairly short. I know attention spans are not great, particularly at 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. So if you have follow-up questions or conversations with Mark and I and the rest of our team would like you to do, is call us and email us. Let's do that one-on-one. I would love to have more conversations with you, your friends and family, if you would like to, just about things we're talking about today or something else. Is that fair, Mark? Perfect. Okay. So we're going to get started pretty much with something simple. And basically, everyone has heard about what principles of investing is about. I think pretty much anybody who's invested anything has heard about the basic principles of investing. I get questions all the time, Mark, about people asking me about risk, people asking about long-term investing, people asking me about their objectives, and the basic principles of what investing really is. So when you have a client or friend or family member who asks you, about what's going on with investments in general, they have a little nerves lately. As far as principles of investing go, what are you really telling them?
So, with the volatility we've had in the market the last 4 or 5 months, as you indicated, Chris, everybody's a little bit on edge and wondering, where we are. And what I tell clients and family members, and even my kids when they ask, is that when we do planning, we solve, and the first thing we want to know is we want to define your income needs. And then from there, if we know what your income needs are, what your priorities are, and then we can look at risk tolerance. And so right now it's going back to the basics. And, we've defined your priorities, revisiting that. Something changed. Is your income okay? What big expenses do you have coming up in the coming months or year where you might need cash? And if once we've identified income needs and cash needs, then the portfolio is in place, and it's really a tweak or a fine tune. So it's really back to the basics at this point. It's not a time to make a wholesale change.
Right. So you're basically saying we're talking about income needs and cash needs. It's really just getting to know the client well. It's understanding who they are, what they're about, what they're trying to do and accomplish. So as far as managing money and taking any risk, we really know what the intent is and the purpose is. Is that fair?
100%. And everybody's bucket of money has an intent. It's either for college, it's for retirement, down payment on a second home. We earmark each account, whether we realize it or not, for a purpose.
Okay. So, with that, then we talk about understanding a family, understand a business owner, understand the situation. So a lot of what, and you may have heard this from us, but a lot of what we talk about as a Highland Trust family, Highland Trust team, is the importance of financial planning when it comes down to managing money. You alluded that a little bit more with some of those answers a second ago. Why is it so important then for a family to have a true financial plan or some resemblance of one in place, and not some just goal setting software that other firms may do or people can do online themselves? Why is it so important to have a true detailed financial plan as a family unit?
And so I think to your point, Chris, you can go online and get a goal planning or most of the different brokerage firms have some kind of goal planning. But a true financial plan has really three components. The first is inventorying what you own. For instance, as people go through their work life, they tend to leave 401ks behind. And there's usually 5 or 6, and there's a pension, or they've collected pots of money, and they don't really know where they are, what the purpose is, and how they're invested. So determining what you have, what you own, in inventory in one place where it can be tracked. The second piece of the puzzle is, what do you owe? Do you still owe money on your house that you'd like to have paid off when you retire? Are you okay taking mortgage into retirement? When you inventory, the income that's coming in, what you owe, and how your spending patterns are going, just being conscious changes your ability to save or to meet your goals. And then the planning or the implementation part is the fun part, because we ask who you love. And when we know who you love, then we can help you set your objectives accordingly. And most people want to invest for their family to have a comfortable, their husband and wife to have a healthy, fun retirement, or to do things for their grandkids,
future health needs.
So that, because they don't want to be a burden on their children.
Right.
And so a full, real plan hits all those buttons.
Okay, that's fair. And I've always looked at it like a financial plan done properly, a true fiduciary due diligence, look under the hood financial plan and get to know really, really well all aspects of a family's life. It gives us a roadmap essentially to how we manage portfolios, is how what risk we're able to take for an individual or a couple. It tells us what to do, and it also is a good visualization piece for our clients, because they can see how that any fluctuation on the up or downside, how it impacts all those things, and it's a comfort for them, because now they can. It's not just throwing darts or a guess. They can actually see direction. Is that fair? And that's what we talk about all the time.
Yeah, and to Chris and to the audience, what we can do at that point is we can say, do you really need to be taking this much risk based on what you have saved? You should maybe dial it back a little bit, or you've got a ways to go and you want to be aggressive for the next 6 years. It's one thing to want to be aggressive. I always, I don't know if my mom's on here or not, but my mom prefers stocks, that you've all probably heard me say, to bonds. And so for her make and model to be, aggressive as far as stocks go, it's a comfort.
Okay.
But I've got people that are 25 years old that want to be 60-40 because they don't tolerate volatility.
So that ties in then to I'm asked a good bit, and always am, of how we actually think about portfolio management, and it ties back into everything we've already said. But is there anything particular you want to let folks know that you haven't maybe before, or you will remind them of how we look at portfolio management in environments like this, or just in environments in general?
So when we build our portfolios here at Highland Trust, we build it in the mind of we're going to have pullbacks in the market. It's just part of investing, part of being in stocks, bonds is fluctuations. And so when we're matching the right portfolio to the client's needs and temperament, we have 3 core portfolios that we manage. A growth portfolio that's doesn't pay much in dividends and it's going to have more technology. We have a dividend income portfolio that's going to provide downside risk. If somebody needs to take 4 to 6% out of an account, then we've got an equity income portfolio where in each of those 3 portfolios, we have levers to raise and lower risk based on your comfort and what you need.
Okay. That's fair enough. And just as a reminder to everyone too, particularly as know as well, we're not a one-person shop. So we as an organization, a team of individuals, we do our own analytics, a lot of our own analytics, and we spend a lot of time making sure that we're doing the right things in those asset classes for our clientele. Is that fair?
Yeah, and for some of those that maybe don't know the depth of the team, we have a gentleman in our Atlanta office, Troy Castro. Troy worked for Mercer, worked for a large money management firm, and is a CFA, certified financial analyst. So Troy's on the investment committee along with Chris and myself. And then Ben Butler. Ben has been with us for 10 years, although Ben's only 25, be 26 in September. But Ben helps me with the research and trading the portfolios. And right now, every 18 months to 2 years, we have a gentleman named Brad Alford with Alpha Capital that actually takes with his partner Anna and analyzes our portfolio. She went to Princeton as a CFA. Brad worked for Duke and Emory, and right now they are deconstructing our portfolios and giving us a grade with how they're doing, double checking our work. And we feel confident with LPL's research. We use FI 360, Morningstar, S&P. So we feel good about our research, but it's a belt and suspenders approach. There's not an ego in it. And so I'm happy to get an institutional manager of money and analyst of large endowments and pension plans to give us that second look and point out where we might want to make a tweak.
Okay. So we're going to go now into some more questions related to the environment. We're going to go over a couple minutes, folks. Looks like everybody's still awake. So what I'm asked is, it's in the news all the time. Okay, it's things like what is a bear market, and how does that relate to what's going on today? What's your feelings?
So the bear market by textbook is the market closing at the end of the day down 20% or an index. So the NASDAQ is technically in a bear market. The S&P 10 days ago, or 10 days ago, dropped down during intraday to 20%. And immediately when it hit that, it was off to the races, and they ran the market quickly back up.
They saw buying opportunity. Yeah.
And so down 20% or more is considered bear market.
Okay. So I'm asked this a good bit, is that, if it does, it's not now. We've had a good week. We talked about that today. This week's been a good week. It looks like, unless tomorrow is an awful day, that we're going to end the streak of weeks in negative territory. So if we do fall into a bear market, is that a game changer? Is that what we would consider a big deal? We need to make drastic changes to how we manage money at this point in time.
That's a great question. So I mentioned that Brad's looking at our portfolios, and we're looking to where if we should make adjustments. When the market's down like that, I really don't think it's a time to make big moves. But we feel that where we are, if being down 20% at one point, that the market's going to come back, whether it's 3 months or 9 months out. So we're not comfortable, but we're not panicked.
Right. And Mark and I talked about this today. And the one guarantee I'm able to give a client at this point is there's been 26 bear markets since 1928. Every single one of them hit a new high after at some point.
And typically quickly after.
Yeah, some go really fast, some drag a little, but they tend to get there. And the median return after a bear market is 24%. The average return is 14%. So not saying that's going to happen again if we even get in a bear market, but at least that's in our minds enough evidence to go. That doesn't mean we're pushing a button and panicking as far as that goes. So and talk about bear market, what people also say is that, well, if we fall into a bear market, does that mean we're going to be in a recession?
So we can have a bear market and not have a quote recession. Recession textbooks is a slowing in economic growth. A lot of people want to say over 2 quarters, but It really is just the economy slowing. And there are 3 or 4 times in our history when the economy slowed from a credit crisis, such as in 2008. So right now, we have a slowdown in, or a decline in the financial markets because the Fed is raising interest rates to slow the economy, coupled with the geopolitical. So we are hopefully optimistic, since we're not in a credit crunch at this point, that this market pullback will be shorter lived and we'll avoid a deep recession.
Right. I mean, we've had, so it's been 26 bear markets since 1928. There've been 14 recessions in that same time period. So that just shows not always does it happen. Not saying it couldn't this year. Again, we're not in a bear market now anyway, and we could be in a recession without a bear market. That's even possible too. It looks like the market has priced in a lot of this as far as potential recession. I don't know whether this week at all that the market is feeling a recession is probably is less likely. We can't tell that yet, I don't think. But as Mark said, and as far as if we do fall in a recession, is that big a deal too? It's not. We don't see a credit issue. I mean, that's really the worst recessions we've had in history has to do when there's a credit problem. We have, Mark and I talk about this. People have money in the bank. Some of that was artificial from incentives from the government, from getting checks from the government. They have money in the bank. They're spending money. If you saw anything on the news this morning about trips or people traveling right now for Memorial Day weekend, oh my gosh! I mean, it's the airports are already full and people are getting out of the house. Even if they're worried, they're traveling, they're doing things. Being locked inside for 2 weeks or 2 years. So people have money to spend. They're spending it. We don't have a credit problem. I mean, in our mind, in conversations and hearing economists talk, the ones we listen to, I mean, it's an inflation problem, and that's based on really supply. So we have a supply problem, right?
I mean, people have money. They have low interest rates on their houses. They're in pretty good shape as far as not being over leveraged. And then corporations' balance sheets are good and still have some good earnings. So the backdrop for quote recession, we've got supply chain issues and things going on, but it's not there to yet. And it doesn't mean that things could not deteriorate. Nobody has a crystal ball. As I always say, if they tell you they do, thank you very much. Call me another day.
Well, so that's really some of the questions that we get a good bit from our friends, family, clients, and we talk about with one another, the team, not just Mark and I. Again, we didn't want to go too long today because I know, again, attention span and people have other things to do. But what we think we're probably going to end up doing over the course of the rest of the year and maybe have more of these just to kind of go over what, Mark is economy, other things as well. So you can get 15 or 20 minutes with us to have a Q&A. Again, if you have questions related directly to anything that Mark answered today or I talked about, or you have other things that you definitely want to discuss in the interim, reach out to us. I mean, most of you have our contact information. Go to our website, get our email addresses or phone numbers off of there, and reach out to any of us on our team. And let's see if we can chat with you and address any concerns that you may have. I'm going to end today with a quote from Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, and he has many great ones. This one is: the stock market is a device to transfer money from the impatient to the patient. So when I say that, it's really hard to tell someone when the market is fluctuating that just don't worry about it, be still. But what I want people to know, and clients know this, I believe, of us, is, when we say be patient, we're not just throwing darts at something and guessing and hoping for the best. There's a lot of things behind the curtain that we do as far as, again, financial planning, really understanding what somebody needs and wants, analyzing the risk, as Mark says, to each of these desires or pieces, points in their life. And we are working hard to do that. If for some reason you or someone needs more of that in their lives, please let us know. So with that, I hope you all have a great evening and taking the time to sit with us today. Mark, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your questions, and thank y'all for joining us.
And we will hopefully talk to you soon. Thank you, folks.
Thank y'all.